Admiral Hyunwoo Kim stood at the tall windows of Earth's Galactic Relations Building, watching the busy city below. Cars moved like tiny insects between the glass towers. People walked on sidewalks, going about their normal lives. They had no idea that aliens were dying in a war across the galaxy. His desk computer beeped with another message. Hyunwoo sighed and walked back to read it. The message came from the Galactic Council, just like the 50 others this month. They wanted Earth's help in their war against something called the Void Syndicate. Admiral Kim, the message began in the formal way aliens always wrote. The Galactic Council once again requests Earth's participation in the defense against Void Syndicate expansion. Human military tactics have proven most effective in our war simulations. Your assistance could save millions of lives. Hyunwoo deleted the message without finishing it. Earth had made its choice long ago. They would stay out of alien wars. A knock came at his door. "Come in," Hyunwoo called. Dr. So-min Park entered the office. She carried a data pad and looked worried. So-min worked as Earth's top expert on alien species. She had spent years studying the different races in the galaxy. "Sir, we need to talk about the war," So-min said, sitting down across from his desk. "No, we don't," Hyunwoo replied firmly. "Earth's position is clear. We stay neutral. But sir, the numbers are getting worse. The Void Syndicate has taken over 3 more star systems this week. They're moving faster than anyone expected." Hyunwoo rubbed his tired eyes. The war had been going on for 23 years now. When it started, most people thought it would end quickly. The Galactic Council had hundreds of member species and thousands of ships. How could one enemy group win against all of them? But the Void Syndicate was different. They fought in ways that confused the other aliens. They used tricks and strategies that the Council couldn't predict. Every battle seemed to go badly for the good guys. "That's not our problem," Hyunwoo said. "Earth joined the Galactic Council as a peaceful member. We share science and trade. We don't fight wars." So-min leaned forward. "Sir, what if the war comes to us? What if we can't stay neutral forever?" "Earth has been through enough wars," Hyunwoo said, his voice getting harder. "We spent centuries fighting each other. Millions died in wars over land, resources, and ideas. When we finally achieved peace, we promised never again. That promise includes alien wars. The truth was more complicated than that." Hyunwoo had read the secret reports. Earth's military leaders had studied the Galactic War carefully. They knew things that even So-min didn't know. Human military tactics were indeed very effective against the Void Syndicate. In computer simulations, human strategies won battles that alien forces lost. Humans thought about war differently than other species. They were more creative, more willing to take risks, and more adaptable when plans went wrong. But that was exactly why Earth had to stay out. If humans got involved in galactic wars, they might become too good at fighting again. The peaceful Earth that Hyunwoo helped build could disappear forever. His personal communicator buzzed. The caller was Captain Jae-ho Lee from the Deep Space Monitoring Station. Jae-ho's job was to watch what happened in nearby star systems without getting involved. "Admiral, you need to see this." Jae-ho's voice sounded tense through the speaker. "What is it, Captain?" "We intercepted some communications from the front lines. The Void Syndicate is asking questions about us, about Earth." Hyunwoo felt a cold feeling in his stomach. "What kind of questions?" "They want to know about human military history. They're studying our old wars, our tactics, our weapons. Sir, I think they're interested in us." So-min's eyes went wide. She had heard the conversation through the speaker. "Send me the full report," Hyunwoo ordered. "And Captain, increase monitoring protocols. I want to know if any unknown ships come near our system." "Yes, sir." The communication ended. The office became very quiet. "This changes things," So-min said softly. "No, it doesn't," Hyunwoo replied, but his voice lacked its earlier confidence. "Lots of species study each other. It doesn't mean anything." But deep down he knew it did mean something. The Void Syndicate had spent decades conquering other species. They didn't waste time studying people unless they had a reason. His computer beeped with an urgent message. This one came from Ambassador Yoo-jin Choi, Earth's representative at the Galactic Council headquarters. "Admiral Kim, the situation is becoming desperate here. The Council is losing the war. They're talking about using their most dangerous weapons. Some species are considering surrender. Please reconsider Earth's position. The galaxy needs human innovation to survive this threat." Hyunwoo stared at the message for a long time. Yoo-jin was a smart woman. She wouldn't ask for help unless things were really bad. "So-min, what do you know about the Void Syndicate?" Really, no, not just the official reports. So Min pulled up files on her datapad. They appeared about 30 years ago from outside the galaxy. Nobody knows where they came from originally. They don't negotiate, they don't trade, and they don't show mercy. Every species they conquer either joins them or gets wiped out completely. What makes them so effective in battle? They're completely unpredictable. Most alien species fight wars according to ancient traditions and honor codes. The Void Syndicate doesn't follow any rules. They attack when enemies expect peace talks. They retreat when they seem to be winning. They use weapons in ways that seem crazy but somehow work. Hyun-woo thought about this. It sounded familiar. Human military history was full of unconventional tactics and rule-breaking strategies. Maybe that's why human simulations work so well against them. Sir? So-min continued. There's something else. The Void Syndicate doesn't just conquer territory. They seem to be looking for something specific. They study each species they encounter very carefully before deciding whether to recruit them or destroy them. Recruit them? Yes, sir. Some species get the option to join the Syndicate instead of being destroyed, but only certain ones. The Council hasn't figured out the pattern yet. Another message appeared on Hyun-woo's computer. This one made his blood run cold. It came directly from Captain Jae-ho at the monitoring station. Admiral, emergency priority. 3 Void Syndicate scout ships have entered the outer edge of our solar system. They're not attacking. They appear to be studying us. Hyun-woo stood up quickly. So-min, I need you to prepare a full briefing on Earth's defensive capabilities. Don't include anything classified, but I want to know what we can do if neutrality stops being an option. Sir, are you saying we might have to fight? I'm saying we might not have a choice anymore. As So-min left his office, Hyun-woo looked out the window again. The people below continued their normal lives. Children played in parks. Students walked to schools. Workers headed home to their families. For 300 years, Earth had been at peace. No armies, no weapons of mass destruction. No young people dying in wars. It was the dream that countless generations had worked toward, but sometimes dreams ended when reality arrived at your door. Hyun-woo opened a secure communication. Channel to Earth's Planetary Defense Force, Colonel Min-ho. Yoon appeared on his screen. Colonel, I need you to quietly review our defense protocols. Don't alarm anyone. But I want to know how quickly we can mobilize if necessary. Sir, is there a threat? I don't know yet. But I have a feeling we're about to find out. Outside his window, the sun was setting over the peaceful city. Soon it would be night. And in the darkness between the stars, alien scouts were studying humanity for purposes unknown. The age of Earth's neutrality might be coming to an end. Colonel Min-ho Yoon had not slept well in 3 days. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago, but he kept drinking it anyway. His office in the Planetary Defense Headquarters was filled with holographic displays showing Earth's outer defenses. Most people didn't know Earth had outer defenses. The government preferred to keep things quiet. Officially, Earth was a peaceful world that only maintained security forces for police work and emergency response. Unofficially, Min-ho commanded a network of hidden satellites, automated defense platforms, and quick response ships that could protect the planet if needed. Right now, those defenses were watching 3 alien ships that had been sitting at the edge of the solar system for a week. Colonel, his aide Commander Soo-young Kang entered the room with a data pad. We have new intelligence on those Void Syndicate scouts. Min-ho looked up from his coffee. Soo-young ran Earth's Special Operations Unit. If anyone could figure out what the aliens wanted, it was her. What have you learned? They're not just watching us, sir. They're conducting active scans of our communication networks, our industrial centers, and our population centers. It's like they're creating a complete profile of human civilization. Are they getting through our security? Some of it, Soo-young admitted. Their technology is very advanced. We're blocking their deepest scans, but they're gathering basic information about our military capabilities, our manufacturing capacity, and our social structure. Min-ho stood up and walked to the main display. It showed a real-time map of the solar system with the 3 alien ships marked as red dots near Pluto's orbit. Any communication attempts? That's the strange part, sir. They haven't tried to contact us at all. Most first contact protocols involve some kind of greeting or announcement. These ships are just watching and scanning. The door chimed and Dr. Yoonji Nam entered. She was Earth's top weapons researcher and one of the few people who knew about the planet's hidden military technology. Colonel, I've been analyzing the scans those ships are using, she said without waiting for a greeting. They're not random. They're looking for specific things, such as military innovation patterns, resource extraction efficiency, and population adaptation rates. It's like they're evaluating us for something. Minho felt a chill run down his spine. Evaluating us for what? I don't know, but I've seen similar scan patterns before. The Galactic Council shared some intelligence about how the Void Syndicate studies potential new territories before invasion. Before anyone could respond, Minho's emergency communicator activated. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim's voice filled the room. Colonel, we have a situation. One of the Void Syndicate ships is moving toward Earth. It's requesting permission to establish communication. On my way? Sir, Minho replied. 20 minutes later, Minho stood in the Galactic Relations Building's main conference room. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim was there, along with Dr. So-min Park and several other senior officials. A large screen showed the approaching alien ship. It stopped at the moon's orbit, Admiral Kim explained. Then it sent this message. The screen changed to show alien text with a translation underneath. Greetings to the humans of Earth. The Void Syndicate requests dialogue regarding your species' future role in galactic affairs. We propose a meeting of mutual benefit. Mutual benefit, Dr. So-min said quietly. That's not language they typically use with species they plan to conquer. What do you think they want? Minho asked. Admiral Kim activated another display. Intelligence from our monitoring stations suggests they want to recruit us. Recruit us for what? To help them win the war against the Galactic Council. The room became very quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. The Void Syndicate wasn't planning to conquer Earth. They wanted Earth to join them voluntarily. Sir, we need to consider our response carefully, Dr. So-min said. If we refuse them, they might decide we're a threat instead of a potential ally. And if we agree to talk with them, the Galactic Council will see us as traitors, Minho added. Admiral Kim looked tired. I've already been in contact with Ambassador Yoo-jin Choi at the Council headquarters. They're aware of the situation. They're not happy about it, but they understand we need to find out what the Syndicate wants. So we're going to meet with them? I don't see that we have a choice, but we're going to be very careful about it. 2 days later, a small delegation of humans met with Void Syndicate representatives on a neutral space station near Jupiter. Admiral Kim led the human team, with Dr. So-min and Colonel Minho providing support. The Void Syndicate delegation consisted of 3 beings that looked somewhat like humans, but with gray skin and completely black eyes. They spoke through translation devices that made their voices sound flat and emotionless. Humans of Earth, the lead alien said. We have studied your species extensively. You possess qualities that make you valuable allies in our mission to bring order to this galaxy. What kind of qualities? Admiral Kim asked. Your military innovation is remarkable. In our simulations, human tactical approaches succeed where other species fail. Your adaptability in combat situations exceeds that of any species we have encountered. Dr. So-min leaned forward. You want us to fight for you. We want you to fight with us, the alien corrected. The Galactic Council represents chaos and inefficiency. Multiple species with conflicting goals cannot govern effectively. The galaxy needs unified leadership. And you provide that leadership? We do. Under our guidance, every species achieves maximum efficiency and purpose. Wars end. Resources are distributed logically. Suffering decreases significantly. Colonel Minho had read enough history to recognize propaganda when he heard it. What happens to species that refuse your guidance? The alien's black eyes seemed to focus on him. Species that cannot adapt to optimal organizational structures become obstacles to galactic peace. Obstacles must be removed. You're talking about genocide. Admiral Kim said flatly. We prefer the term restructuring, but the end result serves the greater good. The meeting continued for several hours. The Void Syndicate representatives explained their vision of galactic order. Every species would have a specific role. Some would focus on manufacturing. Others would handle resource extraction. The smartest species would handle administration and planning. And humans, with their tactical brilliance, would serve as the Syndicate's military leaders. You would command fleets of ships from dozens of species, the lead alien explained. Human innovation would guide our military strategy. In return, Earth would receive protection, resources, and a position of honor in the new galactic order. What if we refuse? Dr. So-min asked. The alien was quiet for a long moment. That would be unfortunate. Earth's location makes it strategically valuable. If you cannot be allies, you become a potential threat. Threats must be neutralized. When the human delegation returned to Earth, they found the planet in chaos. News of the alien contact had leaked somehow. Protesters filled the streets of major cities. Some demanded that Earth join the aliens to avoid war. Others insisted that humanity must fight to protect its freedom. Admiral Kim called an emergency meeting of Earth's leadership. President Da-Yun Shin joined the discussion by video link from the capital. "Admiral, what's your assessment?" President Shin asked. "They're not offering us a choice, ma'am. Join them or be destroyed. They're just being polite about it. And if we join them, we become part of a galactic empire built on conquest and oppression. We help them destroy the very species that welcomed us into the galactic community." Colonel Minho spoke up. "Ma'am, there's something else. Our intelligence suggests they're planning this recruitment offer as a test. If we agree to betray the Galactic Council, they'll know we can't be trusted. They'll use us to win the war, then eliminate us as a potential future threat." President Shin was quiet for a long time. "How long do we have to decide?" "They gave us 30 standard days," Admiral Kim replied. "Then we use every one of those days to prepare." "Admiral, I want you to begin quiet consultations with the Galactic Council. Colonel Minho, start preparing our defenses. If we're going to refuse them, we need to be ready for the consequences." As the meeting ended, Dr. Soman approached Admiral Kim privately. "Sir, do you really think we can fight them? They've been winning a war against hundreds of species for decades." Admiral Kim looked out the window at the peaceful city below. "I don't know if we can win, Soman, but I know we can't live with ourselves if we don't try." That night, the Void Syndicate ships moved closer to Earth, taking up positions around the planet. They weren't attacking, but the message was clear. Earth was now under their watch. The countdown to humanity's choice had begun. President Da-Yun Shin had never felt the weight of leadership more heavily than she did now. 25 days had passed since the Void Syndicate delivered their ultimatum. 5 days remained before Earth had to give their answer. She stood in the emergency session chamber of the United Earth Assembly, looking at the faces of representatives from every nation and territory on the planet. These people had to make a choice that would affect every human being alive, and every human who would ever be born. "Ladies and gentlemen," President Shin began, "we all know why we're here. The question before us is simple, but the answer will define humanity's future. Do we join the Void Syndicate, or do we stand with the Galactic Council?" General Dong Hyun Lim stood up from his seat. As Earth's highest-ranking military officer, his opinion carried enormous weight. "Madam President, I've reviewed all available intelligence about this decision. If we join the Syndicate, we become complicit in the destruction of innocent species across the galaxy. If we refuse, we face almost certain invasion and possible extinction. What are our chances if we fight?" asked Representative Chen from the Asian Federation. Dr. Heewon Jung, Earth's leading military strategist, activated a holographic display showing battle simulations. "Based on our analysis, Earth's defenses could hold off a Void Syndicate assault for approximately 6 to 8 weeks. However, that assumes they only send a standard invasion force. If they commit significant resources to conquering us, our resistance would last perhaps 3 weeks. A murmur ran through the assembly. The numbers were not encouraging. But, Dr. Young continued, these calculations don't account for assistance from the Galactic Council. If we coordinate our defense with Council forces, our survival chances improve significantly. Admiral Hyun-woo Kim stood to address the assembly. Representatives, I want to share something that wasn't in your briefing materials. 3 days ago, our intelligence services discovered the true nature of the Syndicate's recruitment strategy. He activated a new display showing intercepted alien communications. The Void Syndicate doesn't actually trust species that agree to join them voluntarily. They see willingness to betray former allies as evidence of inherent disloyalty. Species that accept recruitment offers are used as frontline troops and then eliminated once the war is won. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Several representatives stood up at once, demanding more information. How do we know this intelligence is accurate? Shouted Representative Kim from the European Union. Because, Admiral Kim replied grimly, we found records of 17 species that made the same choice we're facing now. All 17 joined the Syndicate. All 17 were later destroyed once they were no longer needed. President Shin raised her hand for silence. The implications are clear. Whether we join them or fight them, the Syndicate plans to eliminate humanity eventually. The only question is whether we die as slaves or as free beings. Representative Lopez from the American Confederation stood up. Madam President, what about evacuation? Could we relocate Earth's population to other worlds? Dr. So-Min Park, who had been quietly reviewing data, shook her head. The logistics are impossible. We have 8 billion people on Earth. Even if the Galactic Council provided transport ships, we couldn't move more than a few 100,000 before the deadline. Besides, added Colonel Minho Yoon, the Syndicate isn't just interested in Earth as a planet. They want humans as a species. Running away wouldn't solve the problem. The debate continued for hours. Some representatives argued for surrender, hoping that compliance might lead to better treatment. Others demanded immediate military preparation. A few suggested trying to negotiate a third option. Finally, President Shin called for order. Before we vote, I want everyone to hear from someone who has seen the results of Syndicate occupation firsthand. The main screen activated, showing Ambassador Eugene Choi speaking from the Galactic Council headquarters. She looked exhausted and worried. Representatives of Earth, I am speaking to you from what may be the last free world in this sector of the galaxy. The Void Syndicate conquered the Altarian system yesterday. I have refugee ships arriving here with survivors who can tell you what Syndicate rule really means. The image changed to show alien beings with vacant expressions and mechanical implants attached to their heads. This is what they call optimization. Eugene continued. Every conquered species receives neural modifications that eliminate individual thought and personal choice. They become living tools capable only of following orders and performing assigned tasks. The assembly chamber became completely silent. The Syndicate doesn't rule over other species, Eugene said. It consumes them. Every person, every culture, every idea that makes a species unique gets erased and replaced with mechanical efficiency. When the transmission ended, no one spoke for several minutes. Finally, Representative Patel from the Indian subcontinent asked, "If we choose to fight, what support can we expect from the Galactic Council?" General Lim answered, "They've promised to send fleet reinforcements and share their most advanced weapons technology. More importantly, they're willing to coordinate a joint defense strategy using human tactical innovations." "What does that mean?" asked Representative Nakamura from Japan. Dr. Jung smiled for the first time in weeks. "It means we get to teach aliens how humans fight wars. The Syndicate has been winning because they use tactics that other species can't predict or counter. But humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We know how to handle unpredictable enemies." President Shin looked around the chamber one more time. "Representatives, the time for debate has ended. We must vote. The question is simple. Does Earth join the Void Syndicate, or do we stand with the Galactic Council and fight for our freedom?" The vote was not even close. 437 representatives voted to fight. 12 voted to surrender. 6 abstained. As the results appeared on the main display, President Shin felt a mixture of pride and terror. Humanity had chosen to remain free, but the cost would be enormous. "Admiral Kim," she said, "send our response to the Syndicate. Tell them Earth rejects their offer. And the Galactic Council? Tell them we're ready to fight. Ask them to send everything they can spare." Admiral Kim nodded. "Ma'am, I should warn you. The Syndicate response will probably be immediate and violent. How long do we have? Based on their behavioral patterns, I estimate they'll begin their invasion within 48 hours of receiving our refusal." President Shin addressed the assembly one final time. "Representatives, return to your territories and prepare your people. This will not be easy. Many of us may not survive what's coming, but we will face it as free human beings, masters of our own destiny." As the assembly disbanded, Colonel Minho received an urgent communication from his monitoring stations. "Colonel, we're detecting massive movement in the Syndicate fleet positions. Looks like they're calling in reinforcements." "How many ships?" "Sir, our best count shows 47 warships. Heading toward Earth, they'll arrive in approximately 36 hours, Minho shared this information with Admiral Kim and President Shin. 47 ships, the president repeated. "How many do we have?" "Earth's defense fleet consists of 12 ships designed for system patrol, not full warfare," Admiral Kim replied. "The Galactic Council is sending 23 ships, but they won't arrive for another 40 hours, so we'll face the first wave alone." "Yes, Ma'am? President Shin looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, alien warships were approaching with the intent to conquer or destroy her world. Admiral, I want you to prepare a planetary address. Every human being deserves to know what's happening and what we're fighting for. What should I tell them? Tell them the truth. Tell them that humanity chose freedom over slavery, and that choice has consequences. Tell them that we may lose, but we will not surrender. As preparations began across the planet, Admiral Kim sent Earth's final message to the Void Syndicate. The people of Earth have considered your offer. We respectfully decline. Earth stands with the Galactic Council in defense of freedom and individual rights. We will resist any attempt at forced occupation. The response came back within an hour. Resistance is futile. Earth will be pacified and integrated into optimal organizational structures. Human opposition will be overcome through necessary force applications. Admiral Kim shared the message with his senior staff. Well, said Colonel Minho, I guess that's that. No more neutrality, no more peace. Time to remember how to be warriors. Dr. So-min looked worried. Are we making the right choice? Billions of people could die. Admiral Kim thought about all the peaceful years Earth had enjoyed, all the progress humanity had made, all the dreams of a better future that might now be destroyed. Maybe not, he said finally, but it's the only choice we can live with. Outside, air raid sirens began testing their systems for the first time in 3 centuries. The age of Earth's peace was ending, but the age of Earth's greatest battle was about to begin. Admiral Tae-Young-oh had never expected to command Earth's first space war fleet. 6 months ago, he was managing cargo ships that carried trade goods between Earth and nearby colonies. Now he stood on the bridge of the ESS Defender, humanity's flagship, watching 47 enemy warships approach his homeworld. Admiral, incoming transmission from the lead syndicate vessel, reported Communications Officer Park. Put it through. The main screen filled with the image of a syndicate commander. Like the others Tae-Young had seen, it looked almost human, but with gray skin and black eyes that seemed to absorb light. Human commander, you have one final opportunity to avoid unnecessary destruction. Surrender your forces and prepare your world for integration. Tae-Young looked around his bridge. The crew members were all volunteers who had given up peaceful careers to defend their planet. Some were former cargo pilots like himself. Others had left jobs as engineers, teachers, and scientists. None of them were professional warriors, but all of them were determined to fight. Syndicate Commander, Tae-Young replied, humanity appreciates your concern for unnecessary destruction. We suggest you turn your ships around and leave our system. That would definitely avoid unnecessary destruction. The alien's expression didn't change. Your response indicates insufficient understanding of your tactical situation. You command 12 obsolete vessels against 47 advanced warships. Logic dictates immediate surrender. Logic is overrated, Tae-Young said, and cut the transmission. Captain Hei-Rin Bei's voice came over the fleet communication channel from her ship, the ESS Freedom. Admiral, all ships report ready for battle. The experimental weapons are charged and targeting systems are online. The experimental weapons were humanity's secret advantage. While Earth had maintained official neutrality, their scientists had been working quietly with Galactic Council researchers to develop new military technology. The result was a hybrid of human innovation and alien engineering that had never been tested in real combat. Fleet Formation Alpha, Tae-Young ordered. Remember, we don't need to win this battle. We just need to hold them off until Council reinforcements arrive. The human ships spread out in a pattern that would have looked random to most alien military commanders. Traditional galactic warfare followed strict formations based on thousands of years of tactical development. Human military doctrine, developed through countless wars on Earth, favored chaos and unpredictability. Enemy ships are moving into attack formation, reported Tactical Officer Lee. Standard syndicate assault pattern. They're trying to overwhelm our flanks while punching through our center. Let them think it's working, Tae-Young said. Execute plan, Crazy Horse. The human ships suddenly broke formation and scattered in different directions. To the syndicate commander, it probably looked like panic and confusion. In reality, it was a carefully rehearsed maneuver designed to confuse enemy targeting systems. The first syndicate volleys fired at where the human ships had been, not where they actually were. Meanwhile, the scattered Earth vessels began attacking from unexpected angles. Direct hit on enemy Cruiser 7, Hayrin reported. Their shields are down by 60%. Confirmed hit on Battleship 3, called Commander Ji-hoon Ryu from the ESS Liberty. These new plasma cannons are working better than expected, but the Syndicate fleet quickly adapted. Their ships regrouped and began focusing fire on individual human vessels. The ESS Courage took heavy damage and had to retreat behind the moon. Admiral, we're losing ships faster than we're damaging theirs, reported his tactical officer. Tae-young studied the battle display. The Syndicate fleet was larger, better armed, and more heavily shielded than his ships. In a straight fight, humanity would lose within an hour, time for something the aliens wouldn't expect. All ships, execute plan Trojan Horse. Hayrin, your ship is the bait. Captain Hayrin Bey understood immediately. The ESS Freedom suddenly stopped firing and began broadcasting distress signals. To the Syndicate fleet, it looked like the ship had suffered critical damage and was helpless. 3 enemy ships moved in to capture the apparently disabled vessel. It was exactly what Tae-young had hoped for. Now, Hayrin. The ESS Freedom's engines suddenly flared to full power. Instead of trying to escape, the ship accelerated directly toward the nearest enemy vessel. At the last second, Hayrin ejected the ship's entire payload of nuclear mines. The explosion destroyed 2 Syndicate ships and severely damaged a third. But more importantly, it demonstrated something the aliens hadn't expected. Humans were willing to sacrifice themselves to win. Admiral, came Hayrin's voice over the communicator. Escape pod away. The Freedom is gone, but she took some friends with her. The battle continued for 3 more hours. The human fleet used every unconventional tactic they could think of. They attacked from behind asteroids, used the gravity of planets to change direction unexpectedly, and coordinated strikes in ways that confused alien targeting computers. Commander Ji-hoon Ryu proved especially creative. His ship, the ESS Liberty, pretended to retreat toward Earth's moon, then used the moon's gravity to slingshot back and attack the enemy from behind. The aliens fight like they're following a textbook, Ji-hoon reported. They can't adapt when we do something that's not in their tactical database. But human creativity could only do so much against superior numbers and firepower. One by one, Earth's ships took damage and were forced to retreat. The ESS Defender was the last ship still fighting when the tide of battle suddenly changed. Admiral, massive energy signatures detected at the edge of the system, reported Communications Officer Park. It's the Galactic Council fleet. 23 alien warships dropped out of hyperspace and immediately opened fire on the Syndicate forces. But these weren't the same Council ships that had been losing the war for decades. These vessels had been retrofitted with human-designed weapons and were using human tactical doctrine. The Syndicate commander, who had been calmly destroying human ships for hours, suddenly found himself facing an enemy that fought like humans, but had the technology to match his own fleet. All remaining Earth ships, form up with the Council fleet, Tae-young ordered. Time to show these aliens what happens when you mess with humanity's friends. The combined human-alien force attacked, using tactics that no galactic military had ever seen before. Ships worked in small groups that supported each other while maintaining independence. Attack patterns changed constantly, keeping the enemy from predicting their next move. Most importantly, the human commanders were in constant communication with their alien allies, sharing ideas and adapting strategies in real time. The rigid command structure that the Syndicate used couldn't compete with this flexible approach. Enemy, flagship is retreating, reported Tactical Officer Lee. The entire Syndicate fleet is pulling back, but Tae-young knew this was just the beginning. The Syndicate had thousands of ships spread across the galaxy. This had been a test to see what humanity could do in battle. Now they knew. Admiral, incoming priority message from Earth, said Communications Officer Park. President Daeun Shin appeared on the main screen. Behind her, Tae-young could see the flags of all Earth's nations and the emblem of the Galactic Council side by side. Admiral O, congratulations on humanity's first victory in galactic warfare. I'm pleased to inform you that the Earth Assembly has voted to fully mobilize our planet for war. We're converting our entire industrial capacity to military production. What does that mean, ma'am? It means Earth is going to build the largest space fleet in galactic history. And you, Admiral, are going to command it. As the Defender limped back toward Earth for repairs, Tae-young thought about what had just happened. A few hours ago, he had been commanding 12 outdated ships in a desperate defensive battle. Now he was apparently going to lead humanity's war against the most powerful enemy the galaxy had ever known. Captain Hayren's voice came over his personal communicator from the rescue ship that had picked up her escape pod. "Admiral, I've been thinking about our next move. The Syndicate expects us to be defensive, to protect our own territory, and wait for them to attack. What are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting we do the opposite. We take the fight to them, hit their supply lines, attack their weak points, make them react to us instead of the other way around." Tae-young smiled. That was exactly the kind of thinking that would win this war. "Hayren, how would you like to command your own ship again?" "I think Earth's fleet is going to need all the creative thinkers it can get." "Sir, I'd be honored." As Earth's shipyards began working around the clock to build humanity's war fleet, the news of the battle spread across the galaxy. For the first time in decades, the Void Syndicate had been forced to retreat. The species that had seemed unstoppable had met their match. Humanity had entered the Galactic War, and nothing would ever be the same. Fleet Admiral Wu Jin-han stood in the command center of the massive space station orbiting Earth. Through the transparent walls, he could see hundreds of warships from dozens of different species. Human vessels worked alongside alien craft, their crews united by a common purpose: the complete defeat of the Void Syndicate. 2 years had passed since Earth entered the Galactic War. What had started as a desperate defense of humanity's homeworld had become the largest military alliance in galactic history, and now finally they were ready for the final assault. "Admiral," his aide commander Sulkai Moon approached with a datapad. "The last of the Council fleets have arrived. Total count: 843 ships ready for the assault on the Syndicate's central stronghold." Wu Jin studied the tactical display. The Syndicate's main base was located in what had once been the Zephyrian system, before its original inhabitants were conquered and absorbed. The base was heavily fortified and protected by over 1,000 defensive platforms. "Any word from our reconnaissance teams?" Captain Hayren's stealth squadron confirms that the Syndicate leadership is concentrated at the main base. "Intelligence suggests they're planning some kind of final weapon to end the war." Wu Jin nodded. The war had not gone as the Syndicate expected. Human military innovation had spread throughout the Galactic Council's forces. Traditional alien military doctrine had been replaced by flexible, adaptive strategies that kept the enemy constantly off balance. The Syndicate had won battles, but they could no longer win the war. Their predictable tactics had become useless against opponents who refused to follow the rules of civilized warfare. "Sir, incoming transmission from Earth," reported Communications Officer Park. Dr. Young-Soo Kim appeared on the main screen. He was one of Earth's leading researchers, assigned to study the war's impact on human society. "Admiral Han, I have the final psychological evaluation report. You need to see this before the assault begins." "What did you find, Doctor?" "The war has changed us, Admiral. Not just our military capabilities, but who we are as a species. We've become something we never intended to be." Wu Jin felt a chill. "Explain." "Human society has militarized completely. Our children learn tactical theory in school. Our art and literature focus on war themes. Our entire culture now revolves around conflict and victory." The doctor's words hung in the air like a weight. Wu Jin knew he was right. Earth had built the most powerful military force in galactic history, but the cost had been enormous. "Sir," Commander Moon interrupted. "Priority message from the Galactic Council. They're asking for your final assessment of the assault plan." Wu Jin activated the fleet-wide communication system. 843 ships received his transmission simultaneously. "All ships, this is Fleet Admiral Han. In 6 hours we will begin the final assault on the Void Syndicate's central stronghold. This battle will determine the future of every species in the galaxy." He paused, looking at the faces of his crew. Some were human. Others were the various alien species that had joined the Alliance. All of them had given up peaceful lives to fight this war. The enemy we face today is not just an army or a government. It is a force that seeks to eliminate everything that makes our species unique. They want to turn every thinking being in the galaxy into a tool, a slave, a component in their machine. The tactical display showed the enemy stronghold, a massive artificial structure surrounded by weapon platforms and defensive ships. "We have learned much about war in the past 2 years. We have become skilled at destruction and conquest. But we must remember why we fight. We fight not because we love war, but because we love peace. We fight not because we enjoy killing, but because we value life." Captain Hayrin's voice came over the fleet channel from her ship, the ESS Vengeance. All reconnaissance teams report ready, Admiral. The enemy's weak points have been identified. Thank you, Captain. All ships execute Battle Plan Omega. The massive fleet began moving toward the Syndicate stronghold. The plan was complex, requiring perfect coordination between hundreds of ships from different species with different technologies. The first wave consisted of long-range missile ships that would soften the enemy defenses. The second wave included heavy battleships designed to punch through the remaining defensive lines. The third wave was made up of fast attack craft that would infiltrate the stronghold itself, but the real key to the plan was the fourth wave, specialized. Teams led by human commanders who would capture the Syndicate leadership alive. Enemy defenses are responding, reported Tactical Officer Lee. They're using the same defensive pattern they've used for decades, which means they're about to lose, Wu Jin said grimly. The battle began exactly as predicted. Syndicate forces moved into their traditional defensive positions, expecting the Alliance fleet to attack in the conventional manner that had worked for thousands of years of galactic warfare. Instead, the human-trained Alliance forces attacked from 17 different directions simultaneously. Ships that should have been providing rear support suddenly became frontline attackers. Vessels that appeared to be retreating turned out to be setting up flanking maneuvers. Direct hit on Defense Platform 7, reported Commander Ji-Hoon Ryu from his battleship. Their shield generators are overloading. Confirmed breakthrough in Sector 4, called Captain Min-Soo Park from his destroyer squadron. We have clear approach to the main structure. The Syndicate defenses, designed to repel organized attacks by disciplined fleets, could not cope with the chaotic but coordinated assault they now faced. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Syndicate Command Center, Communications Officer Park announced. Put it through. The main screen showed a Syndicate leader, but this one looked different from the others Wu Jin had seen. Its gray skin seemed darker, and its black eyes held what might have been fear. Human Commander, we request immediate cessation of hostilities. The Void Syndicate is prepared to negotiate terms of withdrawal from this sector. Wu Jin looked at the tactical display. Alliance forces had already penetrated the stronghold's outer defenses. In another hour, the entire facility would be under their control. Syndicate Commander, humanity appreciates your sudden interest in negotiation. However, we have learned that your species does not honor agreements. Unconditional surrender is your only option. That is unacceptable. The Syndicate cannot cease to exist. Then you should have thought of that before you threatened Earth. The transmission ended. The battle continued. Captain Hayrin's Special Forces team successfully infiltrated the command center. Within minutes, they had captured the entire Syndicate Leadership Council. The war that had lasted for over 25 years was finally over. But victory felt hollow to Wu Jin as he watched the celebration broadcasts from Earth. The planet's cities were filled with cheering crowds, but the celebrations felt more like military parades than expressions of joy. Admiral Hyun-Woo Kim, now Earth's Secretary of Galactic Defense, joined Wu Jin on the command deck. Congratulations, Admiral. You've won the greatest military victory in galactic history. Have we? Wu Jin asked. Look at what we've become, Hyun-Woo. 2 years ago, Earth was a peaceful world. Now we're the galaxy's dominant military power. Is that really victory? Hyun-Woo was quiet for a long moment. Maybe not. But it was necessary. The Syndicate would have destroyed everything we cared about. And now we're the ones with the power to destroy everything we care about. On the main screen, reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Syndicate forces were surrendering everywhere. Conquered species were being liberated. The galactic community was free once again. But Wu Jin knew that freedom came with a price. Humanity had saved the galaxy by becoming its greatest warriors. The question now was whether they could learn to be something else again. Sir, Commander Moon approached with a final report. The Galactic Council is asking about our post-war plans. They want to know if Earth will continue to maintain military forces throughout the galaxy. Wu Jin thought about all the species that had been freed from Syndicate control. They would need protection while they rebuilt their civilizations. They would need guidance to prevent future conflicts, and they would need someone to make sure that no force, like the Void Syndicate, ever arose again. Tell the Council that Earth accepts responsibility for galactic security, he said finally. But we do it with one condition. What condition, sir? We establish academies throughout the galaxy to teach peaceful conflict resolution alongside military strategy. We make sure that war becomes a last resort, not a first choice. Hyunwoo smiled. You want to teach the galaxy how to avoid becoming like us? Exactly. We've learned how to fight and win wars. Now we need to learn how to prevent them. As the victory celebrations continued across the galaxy, Wu Jin looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, other species were learning about the humans who had saved them from the Void Syndicate. They would hear stories of human courage, human innovation, and human determination. But Wu Jin hoped they would also learn the most important lesson of all, that the greatest victories are won not through superior firepower, but through the choice to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The war was over. The real work of building a lasting peace was just beginning.